I finally compiled a list of my favorite books of 2025. Now these are not in any ranking order, but just in order of how I read them, and here they are. Sunrise on the Reaping. So Sunrise on the Reaping brought me right back to 2010 when I first read The Hunger Games, and I stayed up so late on a school night reading it because I couldn't put it down. Where Katniss was outspoken and fierce when it came to rebellion, Haymitch was silent and observant. I really liked his inner monologue, and seeing him break piece by piece hit so hard. We saw it coming, but the way it was written was so impactful. The games ruined him. Before he was happy, he was in love, and he was just making it day by day comfortably enough. But after, he was just completely destroyed, maybe even beyond destroyed, slowly becoming a shell of who he once was before. And to be honest, I think it's time to give all of the books a reread. Next up is Ragpicker King. This is the sequel to Swordcatcher, which absolutely loved. I read it when it first came out. I'm going to start with how the ending was absolutely diabolical, and I desperately need to know what happens next. No confirmed release date? Yeah, great, thanks. I would say this book is peak yearning, but honestly, people call this a romantasy, and I think they're wrong. While this does have romance, it is not the main plot, but the yearning, oh my god. It is the slowest of slow burn. We have forbidden love. This is what I want from any romance in any book that I read. The first book gave us an epic world, building the foundation in politics, introduced us to characters, and started the secrets. Now we're deep in even more serious secrets, implications, lovesickness, manipulation. We have mysterious alliances being made, criminal networks, magic, loyalty, and lies. Every character's POV is alluring and interesting to follow. It's never boring in whatever character's chapter we're hanging out with. The Bridge Kingdom. A true enemies to lovers with an arranged marriage of convenience. Raised to be an assassin, Lara is sent off by her father to marry into another kingdom, one that she is told is very bad by her father. This kingdom is very secretive to protect its citizens, and as Lara learns more, she slowly realizes that her father lied to her. Aaron is not the sadistic and cruel man her father told her he was. We have an amazing slow burn, a lethal FMC, and a plot that hits the ground running from the start. The first few chapters, I literally had to stand up. I just had to reread pages because I was like, there's no way this just happened. But it did. It was wild. There was no dragging of the feet at any part of this book. The world building is vivid and intricate, and the descriptions are superb. I absolutely adore the atmosphere and the world Danielle L. Jensen created in this book. This is also set up as a multiple duologies in one big series, like the same world but different character POVs. I only finished the first duology so far, but I need to read the rest ASAP. I'm getting around to it. The Night and the Moth. I lent this one to a friend to read because I knew she would love it as much as I did. This book had me in love so fast. This is an incomplete duology. The next book is announced and is coming out this year. Now, while the world building isn't perfect, but it did have a very eerie atmosphere. I really did like the romance and the banter, and the tension was perfect. A lot of people said that it was insta-love, but I don't agree at all. The way that it develops was just perfect for me. I love the growth that Sybil, our FMC, goes through. It feels extremely rewarding. We focus more on her mental growth over physical growth, as she's already strong. I love the way that Rachel Gillig writes supporting characters, so in this case, Bartholomew. In the Shepherd King duology, it was the Nightmare. Bartholomew was so silly and always had me chuckling. The end was so heartbreaking, and I need book 2 ASAP. Shield of Sparrows. We have a misunderstood FMC. I know a lot of people found her personality very annoying, but I actually really appreciated it. Why? Because she asked a lot of questions, and now that's what most people hated about her. But I don't know how someone could go through such major life changes without expecting any of them to happen and not ask any questions. It just felt very relatable in this way, and we have an extremely slow burn romance and a plot twist that had my jaw dropping. There's magic, myths, secrets, and messy prophecies. The world building just really hit for me. It felt very lush, and as someone with aphantasia, I could almost visualize it. I'm also a sucker for a book with a cute animal companion. The Raven Scholar. From the start, we're dealt with a big shocker that definitely sucks you right into the story. The world building is immaculate and very intricate. We have 8 deities based on animals, and each is basically a house. Our FMC Nima is smart, witty, and just so lovable to me, but she is shunned and looked down by her peers for several reasons. But she is the Raven Scholar, and even though she basically had to rise from the gutter, Her rise was powerful and moving. The characters are funny, charming, and extremely well crafted. The dialogue between them is fantastic. There is a very small sub romance plot, but it does not overtake anything. No overshadowing. There is a lot of threads in this story that all slowly come together. This is an unfinished trilogy, and the wait for book 2 is painful. Catabasis, finally a standalone. In Catabasis, we explore several important themes like exploitation of students, abusive professors, nepotism in admissions and hiring, misogyny and racism, the general toxicity baked into the entire system. This is a dark academia where 2 students descend into hell to rescue the soul of their professor. We have a romance subplot, but it is not important to the overall plot, but it is important to the development of Alice and Peter. It was criticized for being too academic, but I disagree, especially as someone who doesn't think she's the best at forming words. I think this can easily become a timeless classic because of the universal human themes of love, morality, and loss. And it's done with depth and complexity, and how R.F. Kuang targeted institutional corruption. Surely this will pass the test of time. Her take on hell was also very unique compared to the ones I've seen in the past, drawing inspiration from others and blending Chinese mythology into it. Cambridge is hell in this. I will forever recommend this book because it was a masterpiece. We have another standalone, Hemlock and Silver. This got me right in immediately from the first line. I'm not joking. I love the way that T. Kingfisher writes funny characters that are flawed, odd, and clumsy. They aren't perfect heroines, but they are so lovable. Her narrative with offbeat, gentle humor, with some snark here and there, with a really great inner monologue that's messy, is just perfect. This was a retelling of Snow White, but honestly it did not feel like a retelling at all. And there's no dwarves. So it really truly felt more original. Our FMC Anya is a healer who specializes in poisons, and it's more of a hyperfixation for her because of something that happened when she was younger. The world is mysterious with a dark twist. I haven't read anything like this, and I really enjoyed it. And also there's a talking cat, and he's awesome and sassy. One thing that I love is that T. Kingfisher definitely comes off as an animal lover in her work, so you never have to worry about animals getting hurt in her books. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. This is where we take a step back from the big action-packed stories and slow it down into something slightly more poetic. We have vampires and the symbolic love of vampires, with the societal implications of how they are born. The last one is the most important one here. This is more character-driven as we roll through the roller coaster of emotions, feeling lust, love, want versus need, grief, guilt, and rage. This book was not written for those without patience. It's slower and atmospheric. You savor it slowly like a fine wine. In this book, instead of being carried by the plot, we're carried by the actions and decisions made by the characters. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil pays off, but only for those who wait and are willing to stick around for it. And number 10 on my list is Arcana Academy. This is probably one of the most unique magic systems that I have read in a book to date. We have tarot magic, and this is not limited to just the reading of tarot cards. One can wield tarot cards, which can do different things like summon, heal, protect, or more. There's also magic in the act of inking cards, as not everyone has the capacity to ink them. And there are some unique differences in people with the major arcana cards, which I won't go too much into because that's kind of like a big deal. We have a romance that is confusing to the FMC Clara. She sees him as her enemy, but he also only passively shows her that he is good, which leaves her feeling many different things. They both fight against their feelings, but the inevitable happens. Kalis, our MMC, is a tortured soul, but he's a dreamer. And honestly, not gonna lie, I still don't know whether he is fully trustworthy or not. Like, there's like a slight bit of suspicion, but his father is super sus. And like all signs lead to yes, that he is trustworthy, but I'm sitting here like, what if that's the plot twist? Clara is incredibly clever, stubborn, and thinks fast. With this, we're immediately thrown into action from the start, and we learn how clever she truly is. I don't know if this is going to be a duology or more, but I do know that book 2 is out in July this year. Overall, I read way too many cliffhangers in 2025, but I enjoyed them all. So that was my 10 favorite books of 2025, and it was definitely difficult to narrow down to 10. So I have some honorable mentions: Voyage of the Damned, Swordheart, Silver Cloak, and A Dance of Lies. Let me know if any of these books ended up on your top 10, or maybe even bottom 10. I promise I won't be upset. Thank you for watching.